What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
Harron.
We're back with another comics review for you guys. Now, this one we're actually going to be talking about the first 5 issues of a book called HillBilly, which was written and created by Eric Powell. And this one is another one Derk brought to the table. So, Derk, why don't you talk a little bit about this one?
Well, Eric Powell has always been one of my favorite artists. He draws this comic as well. He has a couple of artists that do like little parts in between issues and stuff like that. But he was originally did a lot of his work for Dark Horse for his long-running series Lagoon, and then there was also some little side stories like with other characters from that series. But he has now kind of branched away from Dark Horse and has his own publishing company called
he's running this one?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Albatross is his.
I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah, and so he's releasing different comics from different artists through his own publishing now.
That's cool. All right.
So, and this was the first story that was released off of his...
So Spook House came after?
Spook House came after.
Okay, cool. We will have to talk about Spook House. I want to get a few more issues under our belt before we do, but it was interesting as well. Spook House is a anthology utilizing different artists for sure in that one.
Yeah, he still draws some of the stories.
Right. But anyway, we'll get to that. So this one we're going to talk about HillBilly, which I had never heard of until Derk brought it to my attention. I think I might have seen an issue or two at the comics at the store as I wandered through. Samurai Comics, by the way, in Phoenix. Shout out to them. But yeah, this one was really interesting to me, and mostly, I gotta say, I liked it because of the artwork. Yeah, the story was okay, but the artwork was always tremendous, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, the thing is about his artwork is he has such a style that is recognizable. One thing too that I love about when he first started out, it was more like just like inks and stuff like that. But now when they go to the coloring process, he still keeps a lot of his pencil work in there. Yeah. And so he gives it like this really interesting texture, and he works with a lot of charcoals too, and I don't know. I love his like. It's very cartoony, but it has like such a dark style.
It does. It's a dark, bold style, I will say. I really like that because even though you can see some of the pencil scratchings and a lot of the stuff, what it does is it adds depth to the artwork more than anything else. So that the overallness of it is that we both enjoyed. Obviously, Derk is the one collecting it. I borrowed his issues. I don't know, if I'm honest, I don't know that I would seek this out in singles. I would probably get it in trade. But the reason being, this will segue us into the storyline, because we'll do this like our normal reviews. We'll talk about our overall thoughts, which we just did. Talk about the story, talk about the artwork, which again we touched on. We'll talk about the all that good stuff. But the thing is, this was really beautiful to look at, but the story is ultimately about a witch hunter. And we've had this discussion on the show before, Derk, when we talked about Harron County. Earlier on in one of our podcasts, I think we discussed a book that Derk brought to my attention, which was a little witchcrafty. I'm not a huge witch fan. Luckily, the witches are more displayed, before you jump in on me, because I know what you're going to say, the witches are more displayed in a creature-ish fashion, which I did like. Yeah. So it was a more approachable witch material than I am used to. Okay. So I did like that, and specifically I liked the story behind the cleaver, which is what? His main weapon.
It's his main weapon, but he got it when he was a little boy and he was born without eyes. And so this disfigured little boy who got picked on, and one day he comes across this like giant bird that's like tied up. And it talks to him and it tells him like, please release me, and I'll give you a prize. And so he releases this like giant bird, and then it transforms into this witch. And she says like, I will give you the gift of like the devil's cleaver, which can kill
as payment for freeing me.
Yeah, for freeing me. And what he later finds out is that it actually can kill any kind of ghost, demon.
It's not just called the Devil's Cleaver. It's said that the devil had a number of specific instruments that he used to torture people, and his cleaver was just one of them, and it has made its way topside, and now he has it.
Yes, and another gift that she actually gives him is sight.
In such a cool way, too.
Yeah, she like cuts these little slits into like his face, and like there's no eyes, but like he can still see.
He can still see, and he's constantly crying, or at first, he cries black tears, and the stains are there forever. They'll never go away.
Yeah.
So it's this really I gotta give credit to the backstory because it's really interesting. I was like,
that's why I'm saying
that's issue one. No, there's no. I'm saying no. I get it. It's just that's why I liked. I'm saying the witch aspect of it was more approachable than a lot of witch stories I've had in the past. But I don't. Again, it's not so good that I have to grab the single issues. I will grab the trade.
Right.
But part of why is also the way in which the comic is presented. So this is where we're going to. This is the thing. This is the point. This is what I wanted with comics reviews is a discussion. You know, that's the point. I thought that it took a lot. It took the form. In the first couple issues, it took the form of some TV shows where every issue was a new flashback, like another story that informed the current story. And that, to me, lessens the impact of the current story because it's given short shrift, in my opinion.
Well, yeah.
So when it's a largely backstory-heavy opening arc, that bothers me a little bit.
Well, I think that each issue is kind of standalone. There's always a situation
that's true.
going on, and
it's a different witch encounter. Some you don't even realize are going to be witch encounters.
And it's not always a witch, too.
In those they were. It was always a version of a witch.
Well, but it was some kind of demon. Like
something that was affected by a witch or something.
Right.
There was always... fair point. Yeah. Okay, it wasn't always him versus witch.
Right.
Sometimes it was him versus thing affected by a witch.
Right.
But
or some kind of curse was put on him
by a witch.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, so each issue is has a standalone story. But yeah, there is the flashbacks of his story.
That's pretty much the first issue is the origin.
Right.
And that actually, I gotta say, I loved how that was presented because he saves a little kid.
Right.
And he's like, well, we've got some time while I walk you back to your village. Let's tell some stories to pass the time. Right. Do you have any stories? And he's like, well, I have the story of this legendary figure I've heard of. What the kid doesn't realize is he's actually telling one of the many stories of the hillbilly.
Yeah.
And then the hillbilly tells his story to the kid, which is his origin story. He's like, oh, well, the version I heard wasn't quite the same as what you heard. And then he tells his actual origin story, which is how we get the slits and all that stuff and the dark tears. So I have to say, as far as presentations of origin stories go, this was really interesting, and it was unique in that way because usually it's just someone sidles up and they're like, oh, let me tell you about me, blah blah blah, and then it just goes into the flashback. This actually is like, okay, I saved you, let's pass the time, and and it's like, oh, there's a reason. Okay, cool, I like that.
Another thing too that I kind of like about it, but this kind of bothers me too, is when they introduce characters and they don't really give a backstory to him. No. They just have joined his mission of killing his many wishes. Oh, or even the tomboy girl.
They gave her a little bit of a backstory in the first one because she's been around him for a long time. She met him when they were kids.
Right.
So they've been traveling together for a while. But yeah, overall it's like, where's the bear? Why is there a gigantic bear with tusks?
So so that's what's interesting about it, that it's just it's not this ongoing story. Mm-hmm. You're only getting little bits and pieces of this journey that he's on. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's kind of interesting. Where
it is, but the problem comes when you don't get a cohesive overall running storyline. I think at the very least he should be on a quest for something in particular, but he doesn't seem to go back to anything in particular in each issue. He just comes across something. It's like, oh, this is just another bump in the road that I got to take care of. When each...
But he's looking for bumps in the road. That's
true. But to me, I've watched enough TV and I've read enough comic story arcs that there are people like Joss Whedon that can craft something where every bump in the road informs the overall storyline. And it doesn't seem like these are informing any sort of overall storyline. They're just literally bumps in the road and adventures that he deals with along the way. There's nothing necessarily deeper to them. So that's a bit of an issue that I have. It's not bad. I mean, it's still enjoyable as an issue-to-issue episodic sort of feel. But even, TV has evolved. Episodic feel needs to lend towards an overall season arc. And I'm not getting that at least out of the first 5 issues of this one.
Well, to get back to the Goon,
Yes.
the original,
which I've never read any of the Goon.
Yeah, I gotta get you to read them all. They're so
Well,
good.
it's honestly, just as a quick shout out, I've been listening to a comics podcast for probably about 12 years now. Less so recently, but I try and get back when I can, called Comic Geek Speak, and it was started by a guy named Brian Deemer and his friend Peter Rios, and Brian Deemer has always said that the Goon is his absolute favorite comic of all time. So I have respect for that guy, so I would check it out, but it just seems he's a big hulking dude with a freaking beret. It looks like a goon, like not a goon, like a gangster story arc, and I'm not a big gangster guy.
It's not.
It's not. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
he has that look, but like all he does is fight zombies and creatures.
Okay, then yeah, I probably would like it.
So,
Right.
but going back to the Goon, at first it was kind of episodic. How the comic was framed, but it ended up leading towards like this ongoing story, and where you could tell he was trying to find an end.
Oh, okay.
And so that's where there was this like ongoing story arc that led to its end. So
was it a satisfying end?
It was.
Okay.
I won't spoil anything.
Well, obviously not, but I mean, you can at least
but
say if you were
I
happy
enjoyed
with it or not. Okay.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Like the Goon goes through a lot.
Have we heard whether this is determined to be a really long-running series, or if it's just meant to be a couple of years or anything like that?
I think he's gonna
continue it for a while.
This was something that he had planned for quite some time, that he wanted to do. First, establishing like his own publishing company, and having this be like the new Goon. But
is that what that's what it's positioned as?
Kinda.
Come check out Eric Powell's new thing.
Yeah.
Jump on while you can.
But what's so great is that like he releases all these little side stories, and that's why he has that anthology comic Spook House. And then he's got some other things planned in the future. I know he's doing a lot more writing too. Like he did have another comic that he was doing for Dark Horse. He hasn't left Dark Horse entirely, called Chimichanga, which was it's pretty it's cute.
Really?
Story.
Okay.
It's
a
more,
good name. I mean, it sounds like something Deadpool would like.
it's more of like a kiddish comic, but
okay.
I really enjoyed it. But I don't know. I feel that this comic has the beginnings of how the Goon started out.
Okay.
And so that's why
So you think he's still feeling it out,
So-
probably in his own mind?
Yeah,
bit,
I'm thinking
before
so.
he commits to anything.
But it has kind of a
long-term.
nostalgic feel.
It does,
for
and I
me.
gotta say, the artwork is incredible.
Yeah.
It's got a painterly style to it,
Yeah.
but it's
Well,
super polished.
When he got into the comic book scene, that was what he first did, was like covers, and he did like these amazing Swamp Thing covers,
I can
where
see that.
like oil paintings and stuff like that. I have them all. So
brag, humble brag. I have them all. No big thing.
So, but yeah, I really enjoy this. Once again, it is kind of a simpler story.
It is a very pared down, simple story.
Right.
Easy to jump into. I think you guys could definitely get that first arc and in trade and then jump on the single issues, and I don't think that it would be a tough thing. You could probably just jump into the single issues and honestly not have an issue or not have a problem at all with that. But I gotta say, you know, props to the dude because the artwork is phenomenal. I mean, it is. And it's almost like monochrome. It's like black and white, but sometimes there's a twinge of like a yellow or something like that. But it's so amazing to see an artist that can pull stuff like that off so competently.
Well, he is a horror comic guy, and like you know that his whole background. He's always been drawing monsters and
I can see that. I mean, Jesus, he's good at it. The witches look horrifying. Like and again, I'm not a witch fan, but I'm not a The Witches fan. I'm not a Salem fan. I'm not a fan of the underhanded human witch. I want the witches that are like disfigured and gross and hook nose and warts and like
not the pretty ones.
No, like witches. They use dark magic. It should take a toll on them, you know? Like, they should be horribly disfigured.
Lived forever.
Forever, yeah. I mean, and this gets that across. So if you are not a huge fan of witches like me, this might actually be okay for you, like it is for me. So definitely check it out, you guys. Any final thoughts on it? I think we've covered it pretty well.
Just check out Eric Powell. I'm telling you, like anything that he's done, sometimes people are kind of turned off by his artwork because it is a little cartoony. Like he did a
it was okay.
He did a little mini run of Superman that was great. He did like
I had that the Bizarro World. Yeah, that was great. That was like 3 issues of like crazy like This is different. Like I really like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So some
that was
people
just a couple
love
of years ago, actually.
Yeah. Some people love his artwork. Some people are like kind of turned off by it. But he's one of my favorite artists, and I can't speak.
Now I'm gonna go look up those because I think that was part of the New 52 even. Either that or it was right before.
It was right before.
It was right before around the Grant Morrison stuff when he was finishing. Okay, it all blends together, but I do have that because it's the Bizarro World is square or cube rather than a globe. So
there's so much great humor in that.
Yeah, that one was good. That was a good. It might have even only been 2 issues, but either way, it was excellent.
It's 2 or 3.
Yeah. But yeah. So check out HillBilly if you are fans of Eric Powell, or if this sounds interesting at all to you. A witch killer with the devil's cleaver. Pretty awesome stuff. I'm glad that Derk brought it to my attention, so make sure you check it out. Let us know in the comments down below if you are aware of it or if you're a fan of Eric Powell's work, if you've read The Goon, tell us that. But while you're down there, click the link in the description box to our TeePublic site where you can get access to some really cool horror show swag, like things with our horror show design, our Coexist design, or even our mascot, Horrific Harry. And Derk, what do you have to tell people about?
Well, my website, dirkart.com, where you can check out some of my artwork.
Now including his Thing representations, or his John Carpenter representations. Like he did The Thing, and that's the one that always pops into my head. But he did all of them, so check him out.
So
I'm forcing you to do it.
Yeah.
The time between the last comics review and now, you better have gotten it up.
I will. I will.
All right, so check out dirkart.com, you guys. He's really talented. DERKART.com. So that's going to do it for this episode of our comics reviews, you guys. Thanks very much. I've been Cecil Laird.
Dirk Harron.
And remember, stay scared.